Fair Use Act. I'm not profiting from this video. This is for education purposes, showing the plight of what's going on in society during, due to the corona pandemic. This video is for Hebrew Israelites for education purposes only.
We've all seen the crazy long lines at food banks across the USA. But now we're also seeing this. Desperate people apparently struggling to feed their families, shoplifting for staples like bread, eggs, and milk.
These are people who you would not think would shoplift. They probably never shoplifted before. You can catch 10 to 20 people a day, and think about the ones we all catch, might be 3 or 4 times that amount.
54 million Americans are going hungry every day, up 45% from last year. In New York City, corner convenience stores, also known as bodegas, are stocked with essential items people need in their daily lives. At the beginning of the pandemic, they were lifelines for hard-hit communities. But as the months wore on, these mom-and-pop stores became, more than ever before, targets for shoplifters.
In this particular bodega, we have had shoplifting go through the roof. It's a disaster right now.
Fernando Mateo represents bodega owners.
People rob blatantly. They know there are cameras everywhere, yet they still take the risk. It's up maybe 200–300% in some bodegas.
Mateo says while he feels some sympathy for shoplifters trying to feed their families, many of the thieves are just that, thieves.
Bodega owners are poor people as well. You know, you're not robbing from the rich, you're robbing from the poor.
The AHCHYAM as well as the YAHAWAH, which will be brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, just wanted to go into another quick lesson. Pretty much as always, continue in the spirit of prophecy as we are accustomed to do here at Great Millstone, as commanded by our Lord YAHAWASHI. And one prophecy that's being fulfilled right before your very eyes is the abasing of the proud. This place of America, Babylon the Great, which have esteemed herself as the lady of kingdoms, the glory of kingdoms. Well, guess what? We're in a time where YAHAWASHI is pretty much reducing this place to a third world country, as well as you Babylonians out there as featured in the opening clip, which highlighted the current state of this place of America, man, which is nothing more than a result of YAHAWASHI smiting this place with a deadly blow, and creating an uncurable wound which cannot be healed. See that? Which is going to contribute to the judgments that the Lord has prepared to be made manifest here in the latter days concerning the overthrow of this place of America. Matter of fact, let's start out right here real quick. In the book of 2nd ESDRAS, the 8th chapter, in the 50th verse, it says, for many great miseries, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world. And that's concerning here in America. All right? And again, it says, for many great miseries, shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And the penalty for pride is to be abased, when concerning the chronological order of one's duration. But guess what? Pride comes before a fall. And that's outlined in the book of Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 18th verse. And this place of America oozes with pride. Why? Because the rulers, those who govern over this kingdom of America, is the proud himself, man. Esau, so-called white man. And that spirit pretty much has spilled over to the inhabitants of this place. And that's recorded in the book of Sirach, the 10th chapter, right? Where it tells you, as the ruler of the city is, so are the inhabitants thereof, man. See that? So the Lord has prepared great miseries for you people, and we're in the beginning stages of that. Which that word misery, that's a strong word. Matter of fact, before we get into this lesson, let's click on this word misery real quick.
Misery.
Yeah, it says a state or feeling of great distress. Of great distress, which, the things coming upon the planet Earth is what's going to contribute to that complexity or the stress of nations. And that's recorded in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter. See? A state or feeling of great distress or discomfort of mind or body, see? And that's misery, man. And that spirit has now begun to settle here in America. And it's ultimately going to overwhelm you people, man. As well as these other similar words: unhappiness, see, distress, hardship, suffering, affliction, anguish, anxiety, see, poverty, grief, heartache, heartbreak, see, depression, desolation, gloom, low spirits. See that? It says woe, woe, sadness, sorrow. Yeah, sorrow. And that's the perfect segue, if you will, to this lesson. All right, which brings me to the featured scripture right here in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, in the 7th verse. It says, how much she hath glorified herself, and this she right here will be concerning America. All right? It says, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, and see, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she hath said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So yeah, let's further examine this precept right. All right, again, the scriptures say, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, see, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. So the Lord is going to replace, that glory in her living deliciously, right, with torment and sorrow. Now, when you go into this word deliciously, which we're going to put up real quick.
Strong's G 4763, Straniao. Straniao.
Yeah, and that would be the pronunciation in the Greek for that word deliciously. And it says to be one time, to live luxuriously. Now this word one time, when you go into that word, it translates to undisciplined. All right? And that spirit of undiscipline is mainly on display through you Americans and your eating habits, man. All right? That contributes to your one-timeness. You Americans eat for every occasion, man. All right? When you happy, when you sad, at a graduation, at a funeral, you eat. Even when you're not hungry, man. You just eat because, you look at your clock, oh shit, it's 12 o'clock. I haven't eaten anything. See that? That's undisciplined right there. That's one time. And that's what that word deliciousness goes back to, man. According to the stats, when you crunch the numbers, this place America and you Americans are the most obese people here on the planet Earth, man. See? So how's the Lord going to combat that? That deliciousness, that one-timeness, that undisciplined spirit that's on display? Well, he's going to replace it with torment. See? With torment and sorrow. And how is this going to be carried out? By taking away your comfort, man. Which that comfort comes in the form of food. That's why you see fast food restaurants, which, by the way, that proves that this is Esau's kingdom. When you go into the story of Jacob and Esau, this man, he didn't display the patience needed to, retain that inheritance, that birthright. All right? And, he was hungry when he walked in. Jacob was cooking the stew. And he said, feed me with that same red stew. Now, the reason why it was red, because it wasn't done cooking, man. Okay, this nigga couldn't wait for the stew to finish cooking. He was undisciplined. He was one time, man. See that? And that's why you have microwaves, you have fast food restaurants. See that? That's the spirit of Esau. Alright, which you people have adopted that spirit in America. See, so when you go back here again to Revelation again, the 18th chapter, in the 7th verse, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. See, that word delicious is not there. That's not a coincidence, man. The scripture has a play on words. But again, which we just went into that word delicious, it takes you to the word one time, which translates to being undisciplined. See that? And again, that's on display when it comes to food here in America with you Babylonians, man. when she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow, see, give her. So you're going to be replaced with famine, okay? You're going to be replaced with, discomfort, which again, what contributes to you people in your comfort is food, And those are the character traits of you Americans. And it all goes back to Esau. Matter of fact, before we continue, let me grab some real quick. Right here in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, in the 16th verse, it says, "Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child." Yeah, this land right here would be concerning America, Babylon the Great. And your king is indeed a child. The so-called white man would be considered a child, according to the scriptures as it is written. Children are your oppressors. See, again, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat. See, and thy princes eat in the morning, which symbolizes a lack of patience. All right, when the scriptures say, and thy princes eat in the morning, that's a lack of patience. When you go into the ancient world, it required patience, in relation to eat. You had to prepare the meal, you had to prepare the ox or the sheep. You had to kill it, dress it, see, whatever vegetable you desired, you had to prepare it. You had to knit the bread, see, in opposed of one that eat in the morning. Again, that symbolizes not being disciplined. Again, it says, "Woe to thee, O land," see, America, Babylon the Great, "when thy king is a child," Esau, the so-called white man, "and thy princes eat in the morning." See that? So that's going to contribute to the hell that's coming to America, man. You being undisciplined when it comes to eating. See, the Lord is going to play on that, man. That's why when you read the scriptures, the famine is one of the main plagues that the Lord has prepared. Matter of fact, let's go there. Let's look at the second Esdras, the 16th chapter. And starting at the 17th verse, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And those days is concerning the time we are now. This is the time the Lord has reserved to pour forth his judgment concerning the overthrow of the wicked Esau, the so-called white man and his kingdom, America, Babylon the Great, man, which is not going to be an abrupt mercy killing. It's going to be a methodical, torturous death, man. See? Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Yeah, we just read in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, right, where the Lord said, as much as she hath glorified herself, America, and lived deliciously. See? Well, that's going to be replaced with torment and sorrow. See that? Again, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. See? The beginning of famine. See? The beginning of famine and great death. Famine is what's going to contribute to that great death, man. See? And the stage is being set. You see these Americans, they scrambling for food. They're coming out of the comfort zone now, man. See that? And out of character. As you saw in the opening clip, you had the owners of these stores. So a few people got caught up, stealing, right? And their record was clean. They never did such a thing, man. See? The hunger, it'll cause you to come out of character, man. And again, this is how the Lord is going to level the playing field. This is what's going to contribute to the abasing of you Americans, man. Again, it says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. See? The beginning of famine. So the beginning of famine and great death. See? The beginning of wars and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, and what shall I do when these evils shall come? And that word evil is a compound word, which translates to bad times. All right, that word Eve goes into time or age. And the word ill translates to bad, man, which pretty much would be the time of Jacob's trouble, when the Lord is set to pour forth his judgment here in America, man. All right? And you Americans who live deliciously is going to be tormented with that judgment. And the main judgment, if you will, that's going to be the build-up to the very landscape and plateau of this place, America, changing dramatically and drastically. The America as you once knew, which consisted of you being able to eat, you having food at your disposal, right? Guess what? That's going to be taken away. That comfort, that stability is going to be taken away, man. See? And this is a part of biblical prophecy. See that? Which brings me right here to the book of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, in the 1st verse. It says, "For behold, the Lord of hosts, doeth take us away from Jerusalem and from Judah," right? Meaning so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because you're going to feel the brunt of this judgment, man. Why?